40 Craziest Paranormal Experiences, Scary Ghost Videos. If you've ever dreamed of taking a vacation where your travel buddies might include invisible whisperers, mischievous poltergeists, or a Victorian-era ghost with a flair for the dramatic, you're in luck. Spirits don't just haunt old mansions and horror movie sets. They've claimed real estate in hotels, forests, and even entire towns. Fancy a stay in a hotel where the previous guests never checked out? Or how about getting lost, literally, and maybe even supernaturally, in a Romanian forest so eerie it's been dubbed the Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania? Sounds like a relaxing getaway, right? Now, before you start packing sage and an emergency proton pack, know that these haunted hotspots are worth the trip, even if you don't end up in a staring contest with a ghost. Whether you're drawn to their spine-chilling legends, jaw-dropping architecture, or rich, shadowy history, you're on the right channel today. No Halloween required. Grab your ghost hunting gear, your snacks, and maybe a few extra pairs of clean underwear, because today we're diving into 40 of the craziest paranormal experiences ever reported. And hey, don't forget to hit that like button if you've ever been chased by a ghost or just want to pretend you were. Let's get started. Unless you're already too scared to click the video. We won't judge. 1. Zvikov Castle, Czech Republic, where ghosts and tourists coexist, sort of. Hop on a train from Prague, and in just 2 hours, you'll find yourself in the charming South Bohemian village of Chmielewicz, home to the stunning Zvikov Castle. It's a must-see for history buffs, architecture lovers, and of course, anyone who enjoys the occasional paranormal panic attack. This medieval masterpiece was inhabited until 1947, when the state took over, presumably because even the ghosts needed some peace and quiet. Before that, residents reported an eerie, unidentified specter hanging out in the ancient tower, probably just a very dedicated long-term tenant. Even today, strange things happen. One unlucky tourist on TripAdvisor claimed their camera battery mysteriously drained, despite being fully charged. Classic ghost move. Either that or the castle spirits just have an irrational hatred of selfies. Luckily, all the spooky action seems to be contained to the tower, so if you're more enjoy the view than accidentally get possessed, you can still soak in the castle's beauty without stepping into the supernatural danger zone. 2. The Stanley Hotel, Colorado, where whiskey and wraiths go hand in hand. Since 1909, visitors have flocked to Estes Park to marvel at the Stanley Hotel's grand Georgian architecture and sip world-class whiskey. But in 1974, the hotel got a supernatural upgrade when none other than Stephen King checked in for a one-night stay that would change horror history forever. Picture this. It's October 30th. The place is about to close for the season, and the only guests are King and his wife, Tabitha. Nothing says relaxing getaway like being the sole occupants of a massive, eerily quiet hotel, right? As King wandered its dimly lit hallways after dinner, he had the kind of nightmare that would make anyone reconsider their life choices. He later recalled dreaming of his toddler son running down the halls, eyes wide with terror, as a fire hose chased him. Because nothing says pure horror like rogue firefighting equipment, King jolted awake, sweating in inches from falling out of bed, at which point he probably questioned every decision that led him to that moment. Of course, the nightmare turned into The Shining, and the Stanley Hotel has been capitalizing on its haunted reputation ever since. Today, the hotel offers ghost tours, a resident psychic, and probably a solid drink menu to help visitors recover from any unexpected paranormal encounters. Whether you come for the spirits in the bar or the ones lurking in the halls, the Stanley Hotel is a must-visit for thrill seekers, horror fans, and anyone who enjoys a good haunted happy hour. 3. Hotel Kurrajong, Australia, where even prime ministers can't check out. Of all the haunted places in the world, hotels hold a special place in our ghost-loving hearts, probably because nothing adds excitement to a vacation like the possibility of waking up to a spectral figure standing at the foot of your bed. Enter Hotel Kurrajong in Canberra, where former Australian Prime Minister Ben Chifley apparently decided retirement was overrated. Chifley, who once called this stately building home, suffered a fatal heart attack in his bedroom in 1951. But instead of moving on to the great political debate in the sky, he seems to have stuck around, perhaps to keep an eye on Parliament House, which he still points toward when making his ghostly rounds. Because, let's face it, some people just can't leave work at the office. The hotel itself is still fully operational and well-reviewed, so even if you don't get a supernatural encounter, you'll at least get a comfy stay. But for a certain type of traveler, the kind who enjoys a little boo with their boutique lodging, Hotel Kurrajong offers the perfect mix of history, hauntings, and a stubborn ghost who really should have taken a vacation in the afterlife. Number 4. Hoia Baciu Forest, Romania, where sheep, UFOs, and your sanity might vanish. If you ever wanted to visit a place that combines the Twilight Zone, the X-Files, and the Blair Witch Project into one unsettling package, Hoia Baciu Forest is calling your name, probably in an eerie, disembodied whisper. Named after a shepherd who entered with 200 sheep and never came out, because nothing screams welcome like a mass disappearance, this Romanian forest has been freaking people out for centuries. Things really kicked up a notch in 1968, when a military technician captured a photo of a mysterious UFO hovering over the treetops. Since then, the legends have only grown. Some say the forest is a portal to another dimension, a claim backed by reports of visitors experiencing nausea, rashes, and unexplained anxiety. Or, just the standard symptoms of realizing you're deep in a haunted forest in Transylvania. And speaking of vibes, the place looks exactly how you'd expect a paranormal hotspot to look. Think gnarled, twisted trees that seem to grow at unnatural angles, almost as if the forest itself is trying to tell you, turn back while you still can. But if you're up for the adventure, the nearby city of Cluj-Napoca makes a great home base, just in case you need a quick escape from whatever actually lurks in those woods. Number 5. Valley of the Kings, Egypt, where even the afterlife has drama. Nestled along the Nile near Luxor, the Valley of the Kings has been housing Egypt's finest VIPs, very important pharaohs, since the 16th century BC. It's a breathtaking archaeological site, but let's be honest, most people come for the tombs and stay for the legendary curses. The valley gained worldwide fame in 1922 when Howard Carter unearthed King Tutankhamun's tomb, a discovery that kicked off a century of mummy movie sequels and paranoia about ancient Egyptian revenge plots. Lord Carnarvon, the English aristocrat who funded the excavation, died mysteriously soon after, sparking rumors of the pharaoh's curse. And because no haunted location is complete without a spectral chariot chase, some visitors claim to have seen a ghostly pharaoh riding through the desert with a team of shadowy black horses. Honestly, if you're going to haunt a place, might as well do it in style. 6. Chuk Lagoon, Micronesia, the deep sea's most exclusive ghost hangout. What's scarier than a haunted house? A haunted house you can't escape from, because it's 50 feet underwater. Welcome to Chuk Lagoon, formerly Truk Lagoon, the final resting place of the ghost fleet of Truk Lagoon. A Wadi II ship graveyard that might just have a few restless souls still hanging around. In 1944, the U.S. launched a 3-day airstrike on this fortified Japanese naval base, sending dozens of warships, tanks, and planes to their watery doom. Today, it's a paradise for scuba divers. Assuming you're okay with navigating through sunken vessels filled with torpedoes, gas masks, and the occasional waterlogged ghost. The site is ranked as one of the best wreck diving spots in the world, and while most divers leave with incredible photos, a few claim to have gotten an extra special souvenir, an overwhelming sense of not being alone. Which, let's be real, is not the kind of buddy system you want while scuba diving. Number 7. St. George's Church, Czech Republic, now featuring a full-time ghost audience. If you thought an abandoned church couldn't get any creepier, think again. St. George's Church, located about 125 miles east of Prague, was built in 1325 and has a long history of barely surviving disaster. Fires nearly wiped it out multiple times, but it was a roof collapse during a funeral in 1968 that sealed its haunted reputation. Convinced that the accident was a sign from beyond, the congregation noped out permanently, leaving the church to looters, vandals, and whatever spirits might still be lingering. That all changed in 2012 when an art student decided to bring some life, or afterlife, back into the church by installing 30 eerie ghost sculptures in the pews. These head-bowed figures have turned the once empty church into a full-on supernatural spectacle, attracting visitors eager to sit among them. Whether you come for the art or the hauntings, one thing's for sure, you'll never have to worry about being the only one at Sunday service. 8. Eastern State Penitentiary, Philadelphia. The prison that never stops watching. If you think your office's open floor plan is bad, imagine being locked in solitary confinement 24/7 with nothing but a tiny window and your own thoughts for company. That was life at Eastern State Penitentiary, the castle-like prison built in 1829 to take isolation to disturbing new levels. Prisoners lived, exercised, and ate in complete solitude. If they ever had to leave their cell, a guard would cover their heads with a hood, ensuring that they never saw another human face. By 1913, overcrowding forced the prison to abandon its solitary system, but things didn't get much better. Just ask the poor souls who had their tongues chained to their wrists as punishment. Yeah, yikes. Now a museum, the penitentiary welcomes thousands of visitors annually, especially during its infamous Halloween events. Paranormal reports include shadowy figures, eerie laughter, and phantom footsteps pacing the halls, because apparently, even in the afterlife, some prisoners just can't escape the daily grind. Number 9. Isla de las Muñecas, Mexico. Where your doll phobia becomes reality. Tucked away in the canals of Xochimilco, the Island of the Dolls might be a UNESCO World Heritage Site, but let's be honest, most people come not for the history, but for the horrifying army of decapitated dolls hanging from the trees. The island's backstory is just as unsettling. A man named Julian Santabarrera lived here alone and, according to legend, found a drowned girl in the canal one day. Soon after, he started collecting discarded dolls and hanging them around the island, believing they would protect him from evil spirits. Spoiler alert, they did not. Barrera was later found dead in the same canal, and the dolls remain, their milky, lifeless eyes watching visitors who dare to approach. Brave souls can hire a boat to tour the island, but be warned, locals say the dolls whisper at night, move on their own, and have a habit of turning their heads to watch whoever passes by. Sleep tight. 10. The Forbidden City, Beijing, where palace intrigue never ends. Sure, the Forbidden City is a must-see attraction in Beijing, but did you know it also ranks high on China's list of ghostly hotspots? With over 600 years of history, this former imperial palace has seen its fair share of Game of Thrones-style drama, including jealous concubines poisoning each other and emperors ordering brutal executions. Unsurprisingly, there have been a lot of eerie reports since the palace opened to the public in the 1940s. The most famous ghost story? A woman dressed in white, because of course, sprinting through the courtyards, pursued by an unseen force. Others have heard the unmistakable clashing of swords in the dead of night, despite there being no one around. With its massive halls, hidden passageways, and long history of betrayal, the Forbidden City is basically a paranormal enthusiast's dream destination. Just don't be surprised if you leave with the distinct feeling that you're not alone. 11. St. Augustine Lighthouse, Florida, where the view is stunning and the ghosts are chatty. Sure, the St. Augustine Lighthouse attracts over 216,000 visitors annually for its breathtaking ocean views. But let's be real, many come for the other residents lurking around the property. Paranormal activity at the lighthouse stems from multiple tragedies, including a keeper who plummeted to his death while painting the tower. Apparently, job commitment doesn't end in the afterlife, because his spectral figure is often spotted watching over the grounds. But the real heartbreak? The 3 young girls who drowned when the cart they were playing in snapped loose and tumbled into the ocean. Since then, visitors and staff have reported hearing children giggling, running footsteps, and the occasional mischievous tug on their clothing. Ghost tours frequently include encounters with shadowy figures darting up the spiral staircase, proving that some spirits are still having fun, even after all these years. Number 12. Leap Castle, Ireland, a family drama that makes Shakespeare look tame. If you think your family has issues, wait until you hear about Leap Castle, one of Ireland's most haunted locations. Built between the 13th and 15th centuries, this fortress was home to the O'Carroll clan, a family that made backstabbing, literally, a favorite pastime. One of the castle's most infamous events took place in the Bloody Chapel, where a power struggle between brothers ended in, well, murder. During a mass, one O'Carroll brother, a little impatient for his inheritance, stabbed his priest brother right at the altar. Because karma is real, his ghost is still reportedly wandering the chapel at night, likely regretting his life choices. And if that wasn't enough, workers in the early 1900s made a stomach-turning discovery. A secret dungeon designed for maximum suffering. Prisoners would be dropped through a trapdoor, impaled on wooden spikes, and left to die, while their captors casually listened from above. When the room was excavated, 3 cartloads of human bones were removed. Today, visitors to Leap Castle report phantom voices, sudden cold spots, and an overwhelming sense of being watched. It's all fun and games until you hear a whisper in an empty hallway, so if you visit, maybe bring an extra pair of pants. 13. James M. Nederlander Theater, Chicago, where the drama never ends, even for the dead. If you thought bad reviews were the worst thing that could haunt a theater, think again. The James M. Nederlander Theater, formerly the Iroquois and then the Oriental Theater, has been plagued by more than just harsh critics. It's got actual ghosts. Back in 1903, a fire broke out during a packed performance, claiming the lives of nearly 600 people in what became one of the deadliest theater disasters in history. The building was later rebuilt and rebranded, but apparently the spirits of the departed weren't on board with the renovations. Most of the ghostly activity is concentrated in Death Alley, the eerily named back street where the bodies were once stacked. Visitors report shadowy figures, inexplicable cold spots, and that unsettling feeling that someone is watching. Probably a ghostly theatergoer who never got to see the ending of their show. If you're brave, you can catch a play here, but just know that some audience members might not be listed on the playbill. 14. Poveglia Island, Venice, the ultimate do-not-enter zone. Venice might be famous for its gondolas and romantic canals, but lurking less than half a mile from the city's beauty is Poveglia Island, a place so terrifying that even the locals say, yeah, maybe don't go there. Over the centuries, Poveglia has been used for some of the worst possible purposes. It started as a quarantine zone for bubonic plague victims, where thousands of diseased bodies were dumped or burned. Then Napoleon decided it would be a great place to store weapons, which, surprise, only invited more death. But the real horror show began in the early 20th century, when an insane asylum was built on the island. Patients claimed to see spirits, which, given the history, is totally fair. But instead of help, they got experimental treatments from a sadistic doctor. This man's reign of terror ended when he either jumped or was pushed from the hospital's bell tower. Today, the bell is long gone, but creepy chimes still echo across the island. It's illegal to visit Poveglia, which only adds to its unsettling legend. But if you're really determined, you can take a boat tour and appreciate the horror from a safe distance. Because honestly, nothing screams bad idea like stepping onto an island with a reputation for housing both ghosts and centuries of infectious disease. 15. Château de Brissac, France, where luxury meets ghostly lament. Standing at a towering 7 stories, Château de Brissac is one of the tallest castles in France, but height isn't the only thing that makes it famous. It's also home to one of the most tragic spirits in French history, the Green Lady, La Dame Verte. According to legend, Charlotte de Brézé, the illegitimate daughter of King Charles VI, met a grisly end at the hands of her jealous husband after he discovered her affair. Wearing a green dress at the time of her murder, her spirit has been seen wandering the chapel's tower room, moaning in agony in the early hours of the morning. Guests at the castle-turned-bed and breakfast have reported eerie wails and ghostly apparitions, making this luxurious stay a bit more haunting than expected. Would you dare book a room between April and October? Just make sure you're okay with uninvited spectral guests. 16. Castle of Good Hope, South Africa, a fortress of fear. Cape Town's Castle of Good Hope isn't just South Africa's oldest colonial building, built in 1666. It's also one of its most haunted. Originally a Dutch East India Company stronghold, the castle later became a military fortress and a prison where unspeakable horrors unfolded, especially in its notorious torture chamber. One of its most infamous ghosts is Governor Peter van Noot, who condemned a group of men to death in the 1700s. One of the men cursed him from the gallows, and Van Noot mysteriously died of a heart attack the same day. Since then, his restless spirit has been spotted pacing the battlements, forever bound to the fortress he once ruled. Other creepy reports include phantom footsteps, ghostly screams, and shadowy figures lurking in the halls. If you plan to visit, brace yourself, because some souls never left this castle behind. 17. RMS Queen Mary, Long Beach, California. Once a luxury ocean liner, the RMS Queen Mary now resides in Long Beach as a floating hotel, but it carries with it the ghosts of those who met a tragic fate aboard. From sailors crushed by doors in the engine room, to children who drowned in the pool, the spirits of the deceased never left. If you're looking for a truly eerie experience, the ship's engine room is said to be a hotbed of paranormal activity. Some guests have reported the chilling sensation of being watched, and others claim to have heard the distant sound of children laughing. But no one can deny that the Queen Mary, while beautifully restored, is far from empty. 18. Larnac Castle, New Zealand. A castle built for opulence, Larnac Castle hides a darker history beneath its grandeur. In the late 1800s, William Larnac built the estate for his beloved daughter Kate, who tragically died of typhoid at just 26. To this day, her restless spirit is said to haunt the grand ballroom. Guests report tapping on their shoulders, cold whispers in their ears, and the eerie sensation that someone, or something, is watching. Paranormal investigators have caught chilling evidence, and it's no wonder the castle has become a hotspot for ghost hunters. Stay at the Larnac Lodge if you dare, and prepare for the unsettling sensation of an unseen presence. 19. La Recoleta Cemetery, Buenos Aires, Argentina. La Recoleta Cemetery is an architectural masterpiece, one that houses the remains of Argentina's most iconic figures, including Eva Perón. But beyond its artistic tombs and statues lies a far more chilling tale. Among the most famous legends is that of David Aleno, the gravedigger who took his own life after years of working in the cemetery. Now his ghost is said to wander the maze-like pathways, the eerie sound of jangling keys accompanying his spectral steps. Some believe his soul is trapped in the labyrinth of tombs, forever a part of the cemetery's haunting atmosphere. 20. Haw Par Villa. Singapore Haw Par Villa may look like a whimsical theme park from the outside, but don't let its vibrant colors fool you. It's a place where horror and morality intertwine. One of its most notorious exhibits, the 10 Courts of Hell, offers a gruesome display of punishment and damnation. The wax statues of condemned souls are said to come alive at night, filling the air with their tortured screams. If you're looking for a dark thrill, head to this nightmarish park and see for yourself if the spirits of the damned have truly been unleashed. 21. Catacombs of Paris, France. Beneath the bustling streets of Paris, an unsettling secret lurks, an underground ossuary that houses the remains of over 6 million souls. The catacombs were created in the 18th century when the city's cemeteries became overcrowded and a macabre transformation began. Today, visitors can walk through the haunting tunnels lined with human bones, where the spirits of the long dead still linger. The air is thick with the eerie presence of those whose lives were cut short, and the silence is only broken by the sound of your own footsteps in the labyrinth of death. 22. Sununtunich, Belize. Deep in the jungles of Belize lies Sununtunich, an ancient Mayan ruin that has been abandoned for centuries, yet its haunted past refuses to stay buried. The ruins are said to be haunted by the Stone Lady, a ghostly figure with glowing red eyes and flowing black hair. First spotted in 1893, she has been seen near the El Castillo Pyramid, where many believe she was sacrificed in a horrific ritual. Her mournful presence lingers, and visitors claim to feel her eyes watching them as they explore the site. Whether she is a restless spirit or an ancient protector, her presence is enough to send chills down anyone's spine. 23. Himeji Castle, Japan. Himeji Castle, a majestic relic from 1333, is a place of both beauty and tragedy. One of the most enduring legends surrounding the castle is that of Okiku, a servant who was falsely accused of losing valuable dishes and was thrown to her death in the castle's well. Her ghost is said to haunt the grounds, counting dishes in a mournful tone, always reaching 9 before her chilling shriek pierces the air. Many visitors report hearing her ethereal voice echoing through the halls at night, as if she is forever trapped in the agonizing moments before her death. 24. Forsyth Park, Savannah, Georgia. Savannah is known as one of the most haunted cities in America, and Forsyth Park is one of its eeriest spots. The park is built atop a network of mysterious underground tunnels, once used for performing autopsies and other dark medical experiments. Now, the park serves as a tranquil green space, but the spirits of those who died there still seem to haunt the area. The chilling sensation of being watched, shadows moving at the corner of your eye, and the faint echo of footsteps all contribute to the park's eerie reputation. Come for the beauty, but stay for the spine-chilling atmosphere. 25. Port Arthur, Tasmania. Port Arthur, once a British penal colony, is a place where the past's darkest secrets refuse to stay buried. From 1833 until its abandonment in 1877, this isolated island was home to some of the most hardened criminals of the time. The harsh conditions and brutal punishment methods, including solitary confinement and forced religious services, have left their mark on the site. Today, visitors can tour the ruins, but beware, the spirits of long-dead convicts still roam the island. The Isle of the Dead, where prisoners were buried in unmarked graves, is a particularly eerie spot, and some claim to hear the faint whispers of the forgotten souls. 26. Dock Street Theater, Charleston, South Carolina. Charleston's Dock Street Theater has a tumultuous history that includes a devastating fire in 1740, an earthquake in 1886, and a lightning strike that killed a woman named Nettie Dickerson in the mid-1800s. Her ghost is said to haunt the theater, gliding silently along the second-floor balcony where she met her tragic end. Guests have reported eerie feelings of being watched, and some have even claimed to see her spectral form drifting through the theater as if still reliving her fateful moment. The Dock Street Theater may host beautiful performances, but it's also home to a more sinister show that never ends. 27. Burg Eltz, Germany. Burg Eltz, built in 1157, which is basically medieval for ancient, is no stranger to wild tales and ghostly happenings. One of the juiciest stories involves Countess Agnes, who called off her engagement after meeting her fiancé and realizing he was, well, a royal pain, his personality, not his title. Her betrothed, understandably hurt, laid siege to the castle. In the ensuing chaos, Agnes heroically, or maybe just stubbornly, tried to defend her fortress and tragically met her end. Legend says her spirit still roams the castle today, with her ghostly presence most palpable in her old bedroom, where her battle axe and armor stand guard, waiting for someone to mess with them. 28. Rainham Hall, England. Rainham Hall, built in 1620, spans over 7,000 acres of Norfolk countryside, making it not just a mansion, but a small kingdom. Of course, like any grand estate, it has its share of ghost stories, including one about Lady Dorothy, aka Dolly Townshend. Dolly was married to Viscount Turnip Townshend. Yes, that's really his name, and yes, he was probably a bit of a drama king. Dolly was reportedly locked up by her husband, classic 18th century relationship goals, and now her ghost haunts the hall. Evidence? A photo of her hauntingly beautiful face from the 1930s, which remains unproven as a fake to this day. So, if you're passing through Rainham Hall, don't be surprised if Dolly's not-so-royal ghost is still giving the house a spiritual makeover. 29. Winchester Mystery House, California. Sarah Winchester was living the dream, wealthy, powerful, and married to the man behind the famous rifle. But after her husband passed away, Sarah went a little off the deep end, commissioning a bizarre, labyrinthine mansion with staircases that lead to nowhere and windows that open into walls. Why? To appease the ghosts of those killed by her husband's rifles. The house is a baffling maze of mystery, and visitors today can wander the 160 rooms, good luck finding your way out, and marvel at the ghostly chills they feel from wandering aimlessly in this funhouse of confusion. 30. Höfði House, Reykjavik, Iceland. Höfði House is not only famous for being the site of the 1986 Reagan-Gorbachev summit, but also for playing host to a ghostly apparition known as the White Lady. According to legend, she's a ghost with a tragic backstory, and the house's first British ambassador was so freaked out by her that he convinced the British Foreign Office to sell the house. Now that's a haunting that can clear a real estate deal. If you're lucky enough to visit, expect to be greeted by the chill of an otherworldly presence. Or perhaps just a very unimpressed ghost who's tired of all the historical meetings. 31. Halifax Citadel, Canada. Perched atop a hill in downtown Halifax, the Citadel is the place to go if you're looking for history, spectacular views, and of course, ghostly encounters. Dating back to 1749, this star-shaped fort has seen its fair share of spooky happenings, like soldiers who vanish into thin air, an old lady who loves to hang out in windows, and a little girl who's just too friendly and enjoys holding hands with tour groups. A little too much, we say. It's one of Canada's most haunted places, and the ghost tours, complete with period costumes and candlelit corridors, are definitely not for the faint of heart. 32. Edinburgh Castle, Scotland. Edinburgh Castle, a towering behemoth dating back over 900 years, looms over the city like a big old haunted party host. Legend has it that the castle's tunnels, rediscovered centuries later, were once used to move prisoners. A man was sent to explore them, armed with bagpipes to mark his path, until his piping abruptly stopped and he was never seen again. Now, ghostly bagpipes can be heard drifting up from the depths. Add in sightings of colonial prisoners, French war captives, and even a ghost dog roaming the castle's dog cemetery, and you've got your full-blown supernatural jamboree. 33. Borgvattnet Haunted Vicarage, Sweden. This quaint little vicarage in Sweden was built in 1876, and it's now known as one of the most haunted B&Bs in the world. The first reported ghostly event occurred in 1927, when the vicar's laundry kept mysteriously disappearing. From there, it only got weirder. Empty rocking chairs started to rock themselves, shadows darted across the walls, and 3 ladies started crying for no apparent reason. Guests now come for the snowmobiling and fishing, and also for a fright. But if you manage to stay the night without fleeing, you'll receive a certificate as a brave soul, which is basically a participation trophy for surviving the night. 34. Whaley House, San Diego. Let's talk about a house with a past so spooky it could give the Amityville Horror a run for its money. Built in 1857, on the site of San Diego's first public gallows, the Whaley House is practically a ghost hotspot. Thomas Whaley, the man who built the house, reportedly started hearing the footsteps of Yankee Jim Robinson, a drifter who was hung there 4 years prior. But the haunting doesn't stop at ghostly footsteps. The Whaley family's history is packed with tragic events, including suicides that seem to have left a permanent imprint on the home. Lights flicker on their own, crystals spin like they're at a rave, and if you listen closely, you might just hear the ghost of the Whaley family still running up the stairs. Talk about a noisy neighbor. 35. Jazirat al-Hamra, UAE. Imagine this, a ghost town with more than 300 eerie houses, mosques, and sand dunes. Welcome to Jazirat al-Hamra, a ghostly pearl fishing village abandoned in 1968 after thriving for centuries. People say the ghosts here aren't your typical floaty apparitions, but jinns, like the ones in Aladdin, and they are very active. There's al-Duwais, the mischievous jinn who seduces you with a sweet-smelling perfume, only to reveal her scythe hands. Then there's Fatu, a mangrove guardian, and Noon Donkey, a spooky critter who enjoys snatching children. Just a heads up, don't go out playing under the midday sun unless you want to meet a supernatural dinner date. 36. Crumlin Road, Gaol, Belfast. It's not every day you get to visit a former prison that also hosts weddings, because who doesn't want to marry in a place known for its ghosts? Crumlin Road Gaol, nicknamed Europe's Alcatraz, housed over 25,000 inmates during its 150 years of operation. After its closure in 1996, the spirits of those incarcerated, or perhaps those who didn't quite make it out alive, still haunt the halls. And the best part? You can join in on the ghost tour, stay for the live concerts, and even chow down on a prison meal. Just remember, you might have a few extra guests at your dinner table. 37. Ancient Ram Inn, England. If you're looking for a place to stay that guarantees more than just a good night's sleep, the Ancient Ram Inn in Gloucestershire is your best bet. Dating back to 1145, it's known as one of the most haunted inns in England. From spirits of priests to unsettled innkeepers, the place has it all. But it's not just any haunted inn. It's built on 2 powerful ley lines, which apparently make it a hotspot for paranormal activity. So next time you're planning to stay, Just know you might be sharing your bed with a ghost, or three. It's the ultimate sleepover, with supernatural roommates. 38. Gettysburg Battlefield, Pennsylvania. Picture this. A vast field where around 50,000 soldiers lost their lives during one of the bloodiest battles in American history. The land, where no one got a proper burial, is now said to be home to wandering spirits, looking for their fallen comrades, and possibly their misplaced rifles. Some visitors have snapped photos, capturing these restless souls, including one of Robert E. Lee himself. If you're up for some really historical hauntings, Gettysburg is where history and ghosts come to life. Bring a camera, just in case you catch something out of this world. 39. Fairmont, Banff Springs, Canada. Built in 1888, this gorgeous chateau-style hotel in Canada's Banff National Park is perfect for those who enjoy a side of Gothic with their mountain views. Sure, the scenery is stunning, but the real attraction is the ghostly guests. There's the tragic tale of a bride who fell down a staircase during her wedding, because who doesn't want to ruin their big day by becoming a ghost? But not all spirits here are sad. Meet Sam the bellman, who, even after death, insists on carrying your bags for you. A true professional, even in the afterlife. 40. Bhangar Fort, India. Deep in the desert landscape of Rajasthan, about 100 miles southwest of Delhi, lies Bhangar Fort, an imposing structure with a reputation that's anything but peaceful. This fort, surrounded by eerie ruins, is widely considered one of the most haunted places in India, and with good reason. Legend has it that the fort is cursed after a sorcerer who fell for the beautiful local princess was rejected by her. In a fit of rage, the sorcerer allegedly cast a powerful curse on the fort, leading to its eventual destruction and abandonment. Today, the fort remains largely uninhabited, with only the occasional curious traveler brave enough to explore the ruins. The air is thick with stories of strange happenings, disembodied whispers, fleeting shadows, and eerie sounds echoing through the empty walls. Locals and visitors alike say it's best to leave before nightfall, as the site has an undeniable energy that doesn't sit well after dark. For those seeking a different vibe, however, the site does offer an interesting twist. As former traveler editor-at-large Hanya Yanagihara suggests, the fort is also a place for introspection and spiritual connection. A serene, pre-dusk yoga session near the fort, with the sun setting behind the ruins, might just offer a moment of peace amidst all the eerie lore. Just make sure to leave the ghost hunting gear at home and embrace the fort's mystical atmosphere with a calm mind, because between the curses and the yoga, it's best to stay grounded. Well, there you have it. 40 terrifying, bizarre, and downright hilarious paranormal experiences that are sure to keep you up at night, or at least give you something to talk about at your next party. Don't forget, if you want more spine-tingling content, and let's be honest, who doesn't, hit subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss another ghostly adventure. And hey, share this video with your friends, because nothing says friendship like sending them a video that'll make them second-guess every shadow in their house. Got a paranormal story of your own? Drop it in the comments below. Let's see if you can top these. Until next time, stay spooky, but not too spooky, okay? You still need to sleep tonight.